Jorginho atones for his costly mistake to help the Blues to a point against Manchester United. Watch until the end of this review to hear all of my thoughts on yesterday's match. Hello people, welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. This is my review of the match that took place yesterday afternoon at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League between Chelsea and Manchester United, which ended in a 1-1 draw. So what I'm going to do for you guys in terms of this review is that firstly I will be giving you guys the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of the match. I'll then be giving you guys my thoughts on the match itself, and as always I'll be breaking it down into the first half and the second half, and in addition to this I'll be giving you guys the positives and the negatives that I took from the match, and lastly I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Premier League fixture that will be taking place on Wednesday at Vicarage Road against Watford, with kickoff at 7:30 PM UK time. So without further ado, let's get straight into this review. So we begin by taking a look at the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded, and as always we're going to begin by talking about the formation, which of course was a 3-4-3/3-4-2-1. But anyways, enough of that, let's move on to the personnel that he decided to field, and as always we're going to start off in goal. It was Edouard Mendy in between the two sticks for the Blues yesterday. In terms of the back three, it was Trevor Chalobah in the right centre-back position, Thiago Silva in the centre of the back three, with Antonio Rudiger out in the left centre-back position, and that was the back three. The midfield four, including the two wing-backs from right to left, was Reece James, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho and Marcos Alonso, and the front three from right to left again was Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner and Callum Hudson-Odoi. So that is the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of yesterday's match against Manchester United. Now I am going to try and give you guys my thoughts on the match, and as always we're going to begin by talking about the first half. We made a brilliant start to the match. We had a chance inside the first couple of minutes. We had a couple of chances inside the first few minutes, and I laughed, but it was really frustrating to see that we didn't take them. But I'll get a bit more into that when I summarise the entire performance at the end of this particular part of this review. But anyways, we did have a few good chances in the early stages of the match. The first one came through Hakim Ziyech when he received the ball in the left channel, and he managed to spin on the ball and fire the ball towards goal, but David De Gea did make a routine save. Callum Hudson-Odoi did have he had a glorious chance to open the scoring after he got in behind, and he could only fire the ball at David De Gea, and in all honesty he should have done a lot better. He should have scored. He could have even squared it to Timo Werner, which wouldn't have been a bad option had he scored himself, but Callum Hudson-Odoi should have scored that. We did have a flurry of corners in the first half, and we didn't really make the most of them. Manchester United did defend them really well. I have to say they did defend pretty well in the first half, especially towards the end. But we were doing everything right in that first half except making the correct decision in the final third, and we did have some other chances in the first half as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi had another chance that arose from an error at the back from one of their players. I cannot remember who it is, but the ball fell to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He could have put in Timo Werner, but he instead decided to take on a player and tried to shoot, and it went straight at David De Gea. And again, he should have done a lot better. And it's that sort of play that I'm referring to when I say that we did everything right except our um, play in the final third was just a bit off in terms of our decision making. But anyways, um, Antonio Rudiger had a shot from distance. It hit the bar after David De Gea got a finger on it, and I have to say it was a great save from him. But in all honesty, I cannot tell you how we went into the I cannot tell you how we went into the interval on level terms. I cannot tell you. We were hands down the better side in that first half. We had the better chances. Um, we were rarely threatened. We were defending really well. We were able to progress the ball really well, especially in the middle of the park, where I felt as though Ruben Loftus-Cheek was able to cause a lot of problems with his dribbling and his passing. Um, again, it was just the play in the final third that was lacking. It was deficient in the first half. But yes, overall, I have to say that I was pretty pleased with the way we were playing. Just the fact that we didn't score in the first half, that was a cause for concern. And I say this because of the first 15 minutes of the second half. And by mentioning this, I am getting into my thoughts on the second half. The first 15 minutes of the second half were not great, if I'm being completely honest. Manchester United came out and they pressed us really high. Something they did not do in the first half, let's be honest. And we did get a few set pieces in that 15-minute period, but one of them led to the opening goal, and that was, of course, in favour of the away side. And this raises a lot of question marks. The goal, that is, it came from a corner. I think it was Bruno Fernandes who cleared the ball after the ball came into the box, and Jorginho did try to control it, but he miscontrolled it horribly. And Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho pressed him. He lost the ball. Jadon Sancho picked it up and he ran towards goal and just tapped it home. And I have to say that I can't understand why Jorginho was the last man. Having said that, though, I can understand why there were a lot of players in the box because, of course, we were struggling to score, and part of me saw that it was as though the players were putting all their eggs or putting their trust in set pieces, which did end up working, and I'll get onto that in a second. But I just don't understand why Jorginho was the last man, because yes, he's got stamina, but he's not the quickest player, and he was never catching up to Jadon Sancho. And it's just a shame that we conceded in such a fashion because it was a very poor mistake, and it was a mistake that should never be happening, but it happened and they took the lead. But after that, shortly after that, we got the penalty, and for me, it's a definite penalty. And I'm not just saying that as a Blues fan. I'm speaking objectively here. It was a definite penalty. Was it Wan-Bissaka? I can't even remember who it was who made the challenge on Thiago Silva, but the player who challenged Thiago Silva, I'll just say the player, did not get the ball. Yes, they were going for the ball, but did they get the ball? No, that's why it's a penalty. And it's as simple as that. And in terms of the penalty itself, brilliant penalty. Jorginho sent David De Gea the wrong way to put Chelsea on level terms. And I have to say that based on the way in which the game was going, no one can say that we did not deserve to score. It's just a shame that we weren't able to score from open play. And after that, we had a bag of chances to win the game. Timo Werner had a chance with his right foot after a corner came into the box. I think that's before the goal, but he did have that chance and he sliced it wide of the target. It looked horrible. He had another chance where Wan-Bissaka came in. Was it Wan-Bissaka? One of the defenders came back in after he took the shot, and it went out of play for a corner. I think it was. But it didn't go in the back of the net. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. Hakim Ziyech did have some chances. Antonio Rudiger had a glorious chance at the end where he skied it over the bar. Ruben Loftus-Cheek had the chance where it came off his shoulder and not his head. We had a bag of chances and we just didn't take them. And overall, I have to say that I was pretty pleased with the way we played. I was just very annoyed at the fact that we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net despite dominating the game and creating the far better chances. Yes, there was a bit of a lapse in concentration at the back from Edouard Mendy where he gave the ball to Fred, but thankfully Fred did not make the most of it and instead tried to chip him. Um, Thankfully, Edouard Mendy caught that, but honestly, guys, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed because we really should have won this game. But it happens. We get into the positives and the negatives. Um, One positive, two negatives. The only positive that I took from the match is that we had control of the game. And I'm just going to leave it as that because I really want to address the negatives because these are things that need to be, especially the first one, these are things that need to be addressed for future matches. And the first negative that I took from yesterday's match is the fact that our finishing was just. Our finishing was dreadful. I'm laughing, but that's because I'm trying to make light of it. It was that bad. But our finishing really was dreadful. We should have won the game, like I said already. But anyways, let's move on to the second negative, and that's the fact that Thomas Tuchel could have brought on some players from the bench a lot earlier than he did. I felt as though we were screaming for Romelu Lukaku to come on earlier than he did because it was evident that Timo Werner was not cutting it up front. And yes, I did put Timo Werner in my lineup in my preview, but I was expecting him to play a lot better than he did. And that is not me saying that he's a rubbish player. That's just me saying that I expect him to do a lot better than he did. Yes, he's only recently come back from injury, but he scored against better opposition. He scored against better opposition recently in Juventus, so you'd expect him to actually um, do better than he did against Manchester United yesterday. But anyways, that's it for my thoughts on the match. Please, guys, do drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'm just gonna move on. Now I am gonna finish off by giving you guys my thoughts on our upcoming fixture that will be taking place this Wednesday at Vicarage Road against Watford with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. UK time. Honestly, this is a must-win game. That is not me underestimating Watford whatsoever because they have picked up some decent results recently. They beat Everton 5-2 and they did beat Manchester United by 4-1. So you have to give them respect. You have to consider them as a threat because they do have some great players in their team. I'm very much looking forward to it. My preview will be coming soon, but that's all I'm going to say. That's all I can say now. That is it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all very soon. Come on, you Blues. Come on, Thomas Tuchel. And peace.